Okay, welcome from New York City, right?
Yes.
Lauren Savion, and without her quartet. Welcome to Rochester. This is not your first time. You were here 15 years ago. How is it different today?
First off, I'm leading my own band this time around, so that's exciting and scary at the same time. And the first year I was here with Ada Ravati, a great tenor saxophonist who was here several days ago with her husband Randy Brecker, great trumpet player, and we were in a band together called Elephant. And we performed. I want to say it was at Max at Eaton Place because when I walked in there the other night, I just had this very heavy sense of deja vu, and I said to myself, "This is definitely where we played." So it's really cool coming back here, 15 years later, and sort of things come full circle, and it's very interesting when that happens in your life.
And it's gone from about 15,000 attendees to they're expecting about 200,000. So what's the vibe like?
It's unbelievable. I mean, the first year I was here, it was an incredible festival and so much music going on. But now it's just, the sheer number of people that are coming out to see this music is so impressive to me. So a lot of the time when people say, "Oh, jazz is dead," or "jazz has no audience," I want to say, no, you're very much mistaken, because if you come to these festivals, people come for the music and they know about the music and they're hungry for it. So
you have been doing this since you were this tall. Can you talk a little bit about your roots and how you got into music?
I first started playing the piano. I was about 5, and my mother plays piano, as a hobby. But she's amazing classical piano player. But her thing was that she couldn't perform in front of people. But she had that musical instinct, as did most of my family members. So I was heavily influenced by her. And my older brother plays saxophone, and I always looked up to him. So I wanted to do everything that he did, of course. So when I was about 8 or 9, I picked up the saxophone, and I fell in love with it. And at a certain point, I became interested in jazz, and my father has a very extensive jazz collection, and he laid some jazz recordings on me, kind of Blue, Miles Davis, Giant Steps by Coltrane, and Charlie Parker, and I fell in love with the music, and I started studying it officially with my saxophone teacher, and he couldn't wait to get me interested in jazz. So he gave me all these tapes, and I had all this support, which was really wonderful to just learn this music and also play it in school. And when I first picked the baritone up, maybe my junior year, and I felt immediately connected to it.
I got to stop you right there, because the baritone is bigger than you are. How did you pick it up?
Well, I got to a certain point with the alto where I knew I wanted to play saxophone, but I didn't want to play tenor, and I wanted to try something different. I felt like something was missing, and my private instructor suggested I try the baritone, because he was a baritone player primarily. And I said, "What, are you crazy? That thing is gigantic. I'm going to have to carry it around." He said, "Just try it." And I tried it, and it was just like instantly I felt at home with it. I felt like I had found my voice, and I was just settled on that. I didn't even want to look at the alto, even though I still had to play in school in different groups. I was like, I can't wait to just play the baritone, and I really wanted to become a baritone specialist. So.
And before you got out of school, you were playing Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall. What was that like to be a teenager in those places?
It was pretty wild. The thing that happened, the one main event there were a few, but the one main event that sticks out in my mind was I got to perform with the Count Basie Orchestra, and that experience really pushed me into wanting to perform this music, for a living. And I was very fortunate in that I had incredible instructors who once again pushed me and found opportunities for me to play in these bands, like the Grammy bands, the All-American bands, the All-State bands, and it was in those bands that I got the opportunity to perform at, you know, Carnegie Hall, the Vanguard, Lincoln Center was the Essentially Ellington competition, which my high school was the very, very first year. And what's interesting is that this year I adjudicated the Essentially Ellington competition. So it's kind of cool how, like, I feel like this year a lot of things are coming full circle. So coming back to Rochester, I don't know if I've been back since then, maybe once or something, but
We missed you.
I miss Rochester.
So it must excite you. There's a lot of high school bands here. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've had the chance to see them yet, but it's still, you know, music in schools is a struggle for a lot of schools.
Yes.
But it's still happening.
I mean, I'm very involved in music education, and when I was here earlier to do an interview with Derek Lucas, and I heard one of the ensembles performing at the stage outside here, and it makes me really happy that these bands are getting the opportunity to perform at a world-class international jazz festival. I mean, I was lucky enough to get to play in some clubs. Jazz festival, I couldn't even wrap my brain around that at that age. So it's wonderful how these opportunities are happening and people are putting their effort into making that happen.
I'm going to ask you two things that are not related to the music, but they were in your bio, so
Okay.
I know they're important. You were in a Julia Roberts movie,
Yes.
Mona Lisa Smile. How on earth did that happen?
That was pretty interesting. So actually, Ada Ravati, I mentioned her earlier, tenor saxophonist, she got contracted to be in the movie in the band, and they needed to fill several of the chairs because it was a big band, an all-female big band. So I wound up, you know, being the baritone player. And the funny thing was that we weren't actually playing; we were pantomiming. So they had to pay us as actresses, basically. But that was I took off. The acting thing wasn't really my bag, even though it was just pantomiming. I was like, I want to play music. You know, the movie set thing is not as glamorous as you think. It's just you're sitting around for like 20 hours, just
Lip syncing.
you know. It's cool. Like, I mean, not to knock the experience. It's a very cool experience, and if that's what interests you, that's like you should go and do that. But it was very, you know, one of those random gigs. You know.
I know you do a lot of music-related teaching and judging and all of that, but you've also been in comedy.
Yeah, so you're referring to Dennis Leary. So he has a band called The Enablers, and it features the Rehab Horns. So I'm in the Rehab Horns section, and it's an all-female. It's trumpet, tenor, and baritone. So a good friend of mine got me involved in that, and several years ago when Rescue Me was on the air, he would do a comedy tour to promote the show. So we played in the band, and we were part of the show. And it was a really fun, cool experience. I mean, you're playing like horn section parts, and you're just having such a blast. And he's an absolute pleasure to work with. All the comedians on the tour were great. And so even though that ended, every year we do it's like a fundraising benefit concert. And now that he has this new show, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, we're hoping maybe he's going to want to do another tour to promote that show. So we always talk about it.
So he kind of mixes jokes, and you kind of supplement.
We'll be on stage, and he's singing the song. He's singing songs, and we're playing with him. And sometimes, like if we're on stage while he's doing some sort of routine, we may react, but we're actually not. We're just playing. So. Not really talking.
That's great. We are so glad to have you. One more show tonight over at Max.
Yes.
Correct? This is
Yes.
Lauren Sevion. And it was a wonderful show, and we're glad you're here.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Thank you.